Welcome to Eva Live, the live media commentary show that answers the question, will I grow horns or earn my wings by playing this game? Subscribe to your new channel because today we are going to be beginning our In Nomine Feast of Blades actual play with Session 0. There is a war between heaven and hell that has been raging since Lucifer's fall. Today we are creating a celestial to join in that war and ultimately play through the Feast of Blades adventure. Thank you for joining me today, Mr. Victor Wicked. How you doing?
No, things are good. Looking forward to this.
Awesome. This should be pretty fun. Have you been thinking about a concept for your character as of yet?
Like I said, I crunched and crammed the stuff that you put out. I at least understand where you want to come from,
Yeah.
and maybe like the whole of what everybody's going to do. So, go a more infernal bent. And
Okay.
then, yeah, my knowledge is pretty thin.
Yeah.
Wish I would have had a little more time to crunch, but,
No, it's all good.
I'll be able to.
And we will have a little bit of time before we actually get to the game itself. Got to make all the other characters and stuff. But for those of you tuning in and watching this at whatever point, whether it's live or after the fact, keep in mind that this is a character creation episode. So we're going to be creating Mr. Victor Wicked's character specifically, and then in future episodes we'll do the other characters, and then we'll actually have the actual play of the module itself. This is a great way to showcase not just the game system, but also some basic role-playing ideas behind In Nomine, and that it is in fact a role-playing heavy games tabletop role-playing game system rather than sort of a rules-oriented one, though there are some rules. Okay, so when we start this, we really want to think about what type of character. You had already said you wanted to go with an infernal bent, and so I'm going to pull up the character sheet for the infernal side and just sort of give people a look here. I just created a PDF form of the character sheet. Normally you would use your pencil and just fill in the stuff, but for online, this is how we're going to do it. And then I'll just send this over to the players, once they're done. So because you wanted this to be infernal, let me save this as your character sheet specifically. Give me 1 second while I do that. And this is going to be... Okay. So just so we make sure we have that specifically as yours. All right, so as far as infernal goes, you have a number of different types of bands. And that's really what we think of when we think of infernals. It's what band of, or what clan you could even think of it. What type of a demon do you want to be? In this particular case, there are a significant amount of different bands. Have you had an opportunity to look at any of them, or do you have any general ideas?
Boy, and that's where this is going to be a rough one. I haven't had a chance to,
It's
and
okay.
I haven't gotten the stuff mailed to me. So, but it sounds like it's worth picking up. I can't imagine it's terribly expensive. So,
Yeah, it could. It's all out of print anyway, so it's whatever's left.
right, laying around on
Yeah.
eBay. So if you were to, you said this is a little bit more of a parallel to the D&D format than say the White Wolf format in at that race and class kind of situation, and we're talking about our race necessarily now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or as close to parallel as you can draw.
Exactly. So for the
At the
sake of
risk of burning
everyone,
that's a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can sort of run through the different ones that
Thank
are
you.
available at starting. So first are the Bel Seraphs. They're the serpents, and they're known as the liars. There's the Jinns, which are the binders or the stalkers. There's the Calibim, which are seen as the freaks and the destroyers. There's the Habala, and they're the horrors or the punishers. There's the Lilim, which are the daughters of the tempters. They're very interesting because it's literally based off of Lilith, the Adam's first wife from the Eden experiment. She was cast out of Eden because she refused to bow down to Adam, and Lucifer sort of approached her and said, "Hey, I like the cut of your jib, join our side." And she was like, "All right, cool." Shedim, they're fleshless and the corruptors, and Impudites, they're the charmers or the takers. So it really kind of depends on what you think your demon would be like. Do you want to be more of a hellion? Do you want to be more of a sly tactician? Do you want to sort of rely on your, I don't know, just your wits or your looks and sort of just tempt people into things? Like, how do you sort of see yourself?
So as I understand this, you'll be this thing, but in the game you'll be inside a human shell, or at least you'll have some illusionary thing to where you're going to be able to go through the normal business day, and no one's going to be none the wiser unless you step outside reality, do something strange, right?
Yeah.
So you'll look normal regardless.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Jin just because I've been reading a lot of fantasy involving in that. Maybe it'll end up not being exactly like,
Yeah.
but I kind of want to dive into that corner of the world, see what I learn.
I
So
dig that. Okay. So, just for everyone watching, Jinn the Stalkers, they're sarcastic and disdainful. The Jinn don't get excited. They would be admitting that they cared about something beside themselves. Instead, they move slowly, nonchalantly, slouching through life without regard for anyone or anything. They just don't give a damn.
I work with that person. Huh.
Okay, so I'm going to populate your band with Jinn. And each of these sort of bands of infernal, well, demons, they're not angels, fallen angels, have their own little specialities and stuff. So let me see if I can just showcase this for everyone watching. So this is the Jinn the Stalker section. Prize for the Dogged Nature. Jinn are the infernal counterparts of the divine cherubim. So most every demonic band is the fallen counterpart to the angelic choir.
So kind of like that Dark Crystal thing where you had the Skeksis and the forearm guys. Okay, all right, I get
That's
that.
a funny way to put it. Yes, absolutely. Like the cherub, a Jinn resonance is for the set pattern he's attuned himself to through physical contact. These patterns can be anything, a person, an object, or a place. With the attunement list, usually less than a week, the perceptive Jinn will know its general location and conditions. So you can literally connect yourself with something else and always know where it is or what it is. So your resonance very much is to be a guardian of something that you care about, just that one thing. As far as resonance and dissonance goes, this is the core of the essence of the demon that you are. So if you ever fall out of your resonance, let's say you sort of attune yourself to a car, for example. You love this cherry red Mustang, and someone takes it. If you don't go out of your way to try to collect that Mustang, then you're going to be dissonant. That means going against your nature. And there are consequences to that. If you go against your nature too long, you can actually manifest discords. You can manifest like these physical changes, like you grow horns or your eye becomes this gooey mess, or just like physical alterations because you're going against who and what you actually are.
And if people were like that, how much better would life
Oh
be? Or
my
at least
gosh.
entertaining.
Yeah, no, just see
This
the
person just sprouts a banana out of their ear. Oh, you've been kind of a shit lately, huh?
that would
Okay.
be amazing, actually. Okay, so the dissonance for them is the frustration which the Jinn feel about the Sheedom just shows how much they really do care about things, no matter what their poker faces lead others to believe. So they're in a constant struggle between their refusal to care about anything and their need to feel cared about, which is a sad relic
Ooh,
of their cherubic nature.
that there's something to sink into roleplay with that. I like it.
Absolutely. Okay, so manner and appearance. Jinn are the sort of demons most likely to be found alone in dark corners and brooding. Their hearts are desolate from pushing their naturally warm and sentimental souls away from divine glory. In the pit, they're no greater cynics than the Jinn, brassy instruments of diabolical anger wailing lonely tunes in the night. So like a nice trumpet in a film noir street or something like that.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, just kind of cool. So, as far as game mechanics, with a touch, a Jinn may attune himself to as many patterns as he has celestial forces. So, the check digit of successful resonance roll is the number of days the Jinn will be attuned to the object of his limited devotion. So, that means if it's a person, for example, you can attune yourself to. We're going to start the game with 9 forces. That's just generally what we do with celestials. That makes them very strong. But so you can attune yourself to 9 different things, and you'll always be able to find those things if they go missing or something like that. So that'll be a nice little game mechanic for you to stay connected with whatever, as far as the game is concerned. Let's see. When attuned to something, the Jinn cannot cause it physical harm. If following his target's desire brings it harm, and if the attuned person relieved the demon of its responsibility, then the jinn acquires no dissonance from this action. When the jinn fails a will roll to remove an attunement, he gains a note of dissonance and loses himself in unholy, selfish devotion for a number of days equal to the check digit. So there's a little bit of a mechanic there that's different for every single one of the different bands, but that's where we're going to start with yours. Okay, so we know you're a jinn. Now comes the servitor. What demon prince do you want to try to follow? So
Are there even more of those than there were bands?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, I figured as much.
yeah, there really are, and it becomes interesting because while you're a jinn, you don't have to have a servitor that's also a jinn. You can follow a different servitor of a different band, just because you like, you know, who and what they are or what they represent in the war ultimately. And so the different demon princes are Andrealphus, who's the prince of lust, Asmodeus, the prince of the game, Baal, prince of the war, Belith, prince of nightmares, Belial, prince of fire, Hagenti, prince of gluttony, Cobal, prince of the dark humor, Kronos, prince of fate, Malphas, prince of factions, Nibus, prince of media, Saminga, prince of death, Veilfor, prince of theft, and Vipula, prince of technology. And of course, there's always going to be Lilith there as a sort of tertiary entity who's the princess of freedom. So do you have any initial thoughts about these? And we can sort of look
I
into
think
them
I'm going to stick with a little more parallel of my life itself and go with the death one because I
Okay.
feel like I can bring more to the game with a little bit of knowledge there. So
I dig it. So
and heck,
Saminga,
if I die, I can create a more insane concept with a little more reading and time. But
yeah,
see what I can grab up now.
yeah, I don't suspect anyone's going to die initially, at least in the first game, because that's usually the first act is sort of the getting to know everything. So Saminga is a Shedite. The Lord of Death wears a rotten corpse when he appears on Earth. His celestial image is that of a mass of decaying bodies. And so this is an interesting point where we can start talking about the different bands. You have your celestial presentation of form, right? Your sort of your angelic or demonic form. Um, when it comes to Jinn, your celestial form, let's see. Oh, it doesn't actually say it right here. Oh, manner and appearance. So the celestial forms, Jinn appears of various dark animals, escapees from a surrealist's dream. Only the hated Shedem look more hideous, a fact that glowering, pessimistic Jinn never let the Shedem forget. So that's interesting that you're going to be following a Shedem under Saminga. But yeah, you basically look like a surrealist animal creature in your natural state. In your corporeal state, when you actually take a human vessel and sort of wrap your body into that, it's kind of whatever you want. And when it comes to like sexuality and gender, it's all up for grabs. Whatever you resonate with is how you can, and you can actually have more than one body. If you want a male and a female or a non-binary, you can have all of the above. It
So are
takes.
these people just hanging out in a cellar waiting for you to dive into them, or are they forms that you shift into?
Usually, it depends on how far you want to get into the with vessel and whether they have roles and jobs and stuff like that. But usually,
Okay.
they just don't exist until you manifest as them. If
Oh,
you
good.
have a
Okay.
role in society, then they'll only exist when you're there. But then you kind of have to fulfill that role. Like,
Right. Otherwise, it's noticed they're missing and all kinds of stuff happens. It's the double-edged sword of influence. Yeah, you can reach out and fuck with the world, but if you're not maintaining your side of things, people start getting suspicious. So,
exactly, yeah.
yeah,
Um, but you also get more influence in the corporeal world on Earth if you have a role and a job and stuff like that. So it's a
I'm
little
definitely
bit.
going to go that route.
Oh,
If
nice.
the game goes there, I want to go there.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I think that'd be great. Okay, so let's look at Saminga then, because depending on the different band, you have different powers or attunements granted to you by your servitor. So yours is Saminga, Prince of Death, and you are a Jinn. So these Jinn don't generate dissonance for killing an object of their attunement, which is awesome because your only dissonance that you could gain is by harming something that you're attuned to, whether intentionally or not. Now you don't have to worry about that. In addition, they can detect the presence of the undead within a number of yards equal to their corporeal forces times 10. So since you're going to choose how many of your 9 forces are your corporeal forces, but like being able to detect undead is an interesting ability It is very specific, of course, but
And it may not come into play much, but when it does, it'll be useful. So
yeah, yeah. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to add under, that's corporeal. Oh, it's attunement. So we're going to say no dissonance for harming attuned, and detect undead 10 times corp forces. Okay, and then you can, of course, edit this so it's logical to you, however you'd like to do once we're finished here. Okay, so now that we have your band down, we have your servitor down, there are attunements that you can purchase from your servitor for 1 character point. Now, we're going to get there in a second, but just so you know, there's zombie is one of them. The demon can turn any fresh corpse into a zombie. He must make a will roll, adding his celestial forces, but subtracting the original forces of the corpse he's trying to raise. So that's interesting. You can make zombies as one of your attunements. And another is...
that's damned lovely.
It's wild because that you can literally create your own like servants, just have your own zombie army following you.
Right at the start. Man, you got to be like level 4 back in the day to pull that shit off. So there we go.
Yeah. So Vampiric Kiss is another one. With physical contact and a successful will roll, the demon may suck the life force out of a willing or charmed victim. The power cannot be used on an unwilling victim. So the check digit gives the number of body hit damage. So you literally are, if you chose that, could be like a vampire and just heal your vessel by...
I was wondering what
draining
you did with the energy once you took it. I wasn't sure. So, okay.
Yeah, it goes right into your body hit points, which is kind of cool. And then, of course, distinctions are granted based on your performance by your servitor. If they think you're doing a good job, then they'll just give you a distinction. And there's a number of them here: Knight of the Dead, Captain of the Infernal Legion, and Baron of the Undead Kingdom, that will just give you extra powers, ostensibly. Relations, that's, of course, this is a heavily political game when you really get into the heavy stuff. We're going to start light. So that's stuff that you may want to consider looking into later on. Basic rights. So a right is a way for you to regenerate essence. Essence can kind of be seen like, I hate to reference it like this, but it's kind of like magic points, right? So
Right.
you use essence to improve roll luck. Basically, you at 1 essence, by burning 1 essence, you can add 1 to your roll. And that's really what it comes down to.
Okay.
And then you regain essence as a demon. At sunset every day, you get 1 essence back. And so another way of getting essence, other than waiting every day, is to perform a rite. So some of the rites are kill 10 humans, not necessarily all at once. If you do that, you get an essence back. Kill the vessel of a being with more than 5 forces, which is generally a very powerful human or a soldier. And then sleep in a cemetery for 6 hours. just role-playing wise, creates a very interesting character.
It's quite a panorama of like, you could probably nod off in a tree somewhere, or you could slay 10 people. I mean, like, I guess crash a bus somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow. I love it.
So one thing to keep in mind with this is that anytime you use essence or use any sort of powers that aren't normal, mundane skills, you create a ripple in the symphony. So the symphony is ostensibly space-time itself, right? It's what makes everything up.
The order of way things are right now.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you start messing with the symphony and creating those ripples. Other Celestials can feel that. They won't necessarily know you're the one that did it, though they can. There are ways to determine that. They'll just feel like the Force, for example, in Star Wars. They're just like, whoa, I just felt that. What the hell was that? There's a disturbance in the Force. It's very similar to that. And then invocation, this is referencing you summoning your servitor, your demon prince. Usually you don't want to do that because they have their own things they're dealing with and they don't want to deal with low-level people calling on them. But
Right.
These are the different modifiers you can use and reference in order to successfully call them or try to successfully call them. And you always want to have a good reason for doing it, because if you do it and you don't have a good reason, then they'll tend to punish you in some way, which is never really good. Okay, so now that we have a basic idea, you are a djinn and you are working for Saminga. Let's think about you have you have 9 forces that you can divide up between corporeal, ethereal, and celestial. As far as demons are concerned, will is the one characteristic that you will always reference for everything because you're trying to exert your will on others. So you're going to want to make sure that's a little bit higher. But as
Right.
far as the forces go, if you look at the character sheet, and I'll just get rid of the book here that's right in the way of that. Where is it? Nope, that's you. Where's the?
And I'm gone. Shouldn't have
Um,
summoned Adam.
I
That's it.
know.
Got punished.
How dare you? So you see the circles around each of these corporeal, ethereal, and celestial,
Right.
up to 6 for each of them, but you have to have at least 1 in each of them, and you have 9 to divide. Corporeal is everything that happens on Earth. So if you have corporeal forces, it's not going to matter at all when you're in the celestial realm. Ethereal, most people don't ever go into the ethereal realm, but intelligence, perception are important attributes for use in just gameplay in general, right? Because it's all sort of your mental stuff. Celestial is the most important for celestials, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to put all your weight into there because most of the time you're going to be working on Earth doing earthly business, on behalf of Sminga. So, how do you think you want to sort of break this up?
Hmm. And I have 9 between the 3 categories.
Yep.
Okay.
And if you want any definitions or anything of the different characteristics that each realm controls, I can give you that.
I guess I'll go with a strength of 1, agility of 2.
Oh, yeah. So let me
Or
clarify
we're not
this
quite
really
there
quick.
yet.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the character attributes, which are the strength and agility, intelligence, precision, and will and perception,
They'll come off of what I choose to. Okay.
exactly. So the
All right.
number of forces that you apply to each realm tell you what those numbers could be.
Is there a downside to just throwing 3 on each? Or should I really
No, I
jack
think
up
that's
one over the other?
it depends on whether some people will try to game the system as it were. If you're going to have a vessel, which if you're going to do anything on Earth, you need one,
Yeah.
then you want a good vessel with a lot of hit points, right? Your hit points are a direct relation to your corporeal forces and your attributes. So some people like to sort of bump up those more than anything else, just so that they have a lot of hit points in their vessel. But if you just want a nice average character that can pretty much, do whatever, then having equal 3 in each realm is a great way of doing that. So it just
I think
depends
I
on how
will,
you
just
want to.
due to my lack of knowledge. It could be seen as basic, or it could be seen as well-rounded. I don't
Yeah,
know. But then I'll just
I usually
branch
think
off
it's
from
well
there when I
rounded.
can.
Okay, so you're going to do 3 in each?
Please.
All right, let's do that. Oops. Okay. So we've got 3 in each, and that means you have each force in a realm has 4 character points associated with it that you can divide between strength and agility or intelligence precision, for example. So
Oh,
you
there
have
we go. Okay.
12 in each realm to divide between each. Let me just make sure really quick to see if it's a choice or if it's automatic, like division. Because I think it's your choice here. Where is creation here? All right. So the 3 forces, characteristics. Every force of a given type grants 4 levels to spend in its 2 characteristics, and only those 2. So 2 ethereal forces gives 8, etc. Okay, so yeah, you get to choose how many go to that strength or agility, and you have 12 total for each of them. So how would you want to
Okay.
sort of break that up? And this is a great place to sort of reference how you see your character interacting with the world. Some people come in and they have a very sort of D&D hack and slash mindset, and they're like, well, I just want to be able to crush everything with my fists or a bat or a crowbar or a gun, in which case you would want to sort of focus on strength or precision. But if you're going to instead be, a thoughtful sort of distance guy who is more of a support type, then maybe you want to focus more on agility and intelligence. So it's kind of
That's kind of where I think I'm going. I played bruisers most of my life, and that's really boring now.
Yeah.
I don't have the same ambitions for acting than I did then.
Hmm.
Uh, hmm. I want to be able to act decently soon, though, so I would go a little greater in my agility. Um, at what point does it consider to be? I suppose you can choose to act superhumanly or not. Like, at what point, or is anybody at this level one-ish, where we're starting, going to be like, if I jack my agility up to like an 8 or whatever, am I going to be moving at a speed that makes it harder to hide the fact I'm a demon? Or
Oh no, no, it's nothing like
okay,
that.
cool. All right.
These, I mean,
Well,
characteristics are really just so you can perform actions, right? It's not going to
okay.
direct your role playing of your character at all.
Well, I think I'll go with 8 and 4 agility strength.
Okay. So 4 strength,
So
8 agility.
yeah.
What do you think of intelligence and precision?
Hmm. I think I want to do those even.
Okay, so 6 and 6. Yeah, and when it comes to this game, you always want to roll low. So you have basically 2 dice to determine whether you are successful in a skill, and you want to roll under whatever the characteristic and the skill dictate. So, the higher you have, the better it is for you to
So
succeed
it'll
at
be
things.
strength and a thing. It'll
Hmm.
be intelligence and a thing, and I'm trying to get under that
Yep.
number. Okay.
Yep. And then celestial will and perception. So as far as demons are concerned, will is the most important, but you will have to use perception from time to time, so it's kind of up to you. And you will use these, of course, on Earth, in the corporeal realm. So,
Well, is 8 and 4 a bad point here? Is putting 4 on perception entirely? Am
no,
I gonna be, I don't know, staring at a wall all day and
I don't think so.
not knowing what the hell's going on?
No,
Then
I
I'll go
think,
that route, please.
okay, I think that's good. Yeah, and my character that I sort of did as the example one on this channel, I just did even everything, just for simplicity. But it does end up kind of helping you in the long run, when if you don't have any really low scores, then it's easier to do almost anything.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so now that
Try
we
to be a
have
Swiss Army
your
knife and that role play, do everything else.
yeah, yeah. Now that we have your characteristics set, we got your forces set. Let's look at your. Let me see the quick guide here. Um, we got the characteristics. Let's do. Well, I'm not sure we want to jump to resources, but I guess we will. So let's jump to resources. So resources are broken up in a number of different categories, but really what you need to think of them in terms of is you have to have a vessel in order to manifest on Earth. And so that's one thing you need to get. But then also skills and songs. So songs are ostensibly magic spells. I mean, the game system doesn't like to reference them that way, but for everyone watching this has ever played a role playing game, that's kind of what they are, or like force powers, for example. So it's nice to have one or two or three of those, but also, and those are all broken up between the realms. So if you get a song that is only effective in the celestial realm, when you're operating on Earth, it's going to be pretty useless. So you always kind of want to think of that. And each song,
Well, and a side tangent for role play sake, is it like verbal, somatic, and material components when you do these things, or are you just, they kind of happen because you will them to happen
it
based on where you are?
it depends on how high of a level you have.
Okay.
So everything is a one-to-one buy, right? So if you choose a song that you put one level into, like let's say a song of corporeal healing, right? So you put one into it, you're going to have to, it's literally like a performance, sort of do like that magical spell action and stuff. If you're
Okay.
doing sorry, someone's calling me. I don't know how to turn it off. If you're doing a second level or a third level, the higher level you get up to 6, the less you have to actually display. So when you're at
So
like,
kind of the Super Saiyan thing. After a while, you're just standing there glowing and shit happens.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and you're not even really glowing because it's the essence, the spirit that's actually manifesting it. So you just see it like sort of fire starter, and then all of a sudden, it happens. You don't even have to make an
Okay.
ugly face or anything to do it.
Nice.
But now skills are a little bit different, right? Because if you do not have any levels in a particular skill, like driving or ranged firing a weapon, and you try, there are defaults that are usually really big negatives. So, for example, let me sort of go back to this and we'll just show one of them. So, if you try to dodge, for example, it's a default of a -1. So, you would have to, you always suffer if you don't have 1 point in a particular skill that you think you would then use later on. So, this is why
Right.
the character concept becomes so important, because if you never need as a character to drive, you just don't have that type of a character, then you would never need to choose drive because you would always sort of avoid it, maybe public transportation or have someone else do it or whatever. Um, but so you don't need every skill, but whatever type of character you think about playing, you're going to want to make sure you have a skill in that ability, or else you're going to have negatives trying to perform it. And they're only 1-to-1. So, for example, electronics here is a default of -5. That's huge when you only have a 2-to-12 opportunity of succeeding.
You're never going to set your VCR clock. No, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, don't even
No,
think about the
no.
coffee maker clock.
Oh yeah, no, no. Got to go buy it forever.
So it's always important. And, so obviously you get rid of that -5 by just putting 1 point in it, and then suddenly it's a +1. And you have one level in that skill, up to 6. So because you only start with 24, and that's all based off of the number of forces you have times 4. Let me make sure that's accurate. I just want to make sure I'm telling it straight here. So 4 times your total number of forces. And so in your particular case, it's 4 times 9. And I have to do some math because I suck at it. So that's 36. So I was way off. I'm clearly not a mathematician. So you got 36 points in order to spend. So let's first think about your earthly vessel, right? Because
So I'm going to go with what I know.
Yeah.
And I hope this works in a role play sense. It seems compelling based on what little I understand.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just going to go with what I know and actually play a more enhanced version of me. But I guess that's role play, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm thinking my guy would own a removal service for various funeral homes to allow him access to that world without being tied to one specific building.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd have like a warehouse and drivers that would go to other funeral homes, which would allow him lots of community access links, access to young people who desperately need money. I don't even know if I necessarily need to corrupt other humans or not, but let's throw that in there as a thing I might need to do. So definitely more of a worldly tie right now until I understand the more supernatural elements.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going with this.
Interesting. Okay. So let's see. So we need to first get you a vessel and then get you a role. So
Okay.
let me look here under resource mechanics. So vessel is the actual body itself, whereas the role is the action, like the job the body has. So it's the form a celestial wears when in the corporeal realm. The vessels are resources costing 3 points per level, plus any charisma you choose to add. And it doesn't even have to be human. You do animals and stuff like that as well.
Oh, that's nice to know.
So I'm going to highlight that really quick. Vessels are resources costing 3 points per level up to 6. Everything is 6-sided role-playing games, so everything's up to 6. So when you're thinking about the type of a vessel, what are you sort of thinking of, and what level do you want it to be?
Well, I'm looking at like a business leader, and I initially thought somebody physically who has a story, either like they have an apparent fake handicap, or maybe their creed, religion, or background would have like caused them to be a struggle to get where they are. So like there's a bit of a story in just meeting them. Like you'd first meet them, go, "Oh, I don't even know how you got to your stature in life, being who you are." That's kind of a disarming thing. So I'm trying to mill that around in my head right now. What that could be? Would the person just be older? Would they be handicapped? Or now I'm equating handicapped people with being queer of another ethnicity. That's never wonderful, but like something like that.
Yeah.
That's disarming and relating at the same time. Because I mean, you could always be any one of the extras from the Ninth Gate and just like this creepy dude in glasses, but I think it's a little more interesting to do something else.
Yeah.
I don't play girls well, big surprise, though I love rock heels, but
Also think, I mean, you can affect a sort of mannerism that makes it look like you have, you know, some sort of disability without actually
that's
having
exactly
it.
where that's
Yeah.
where I'm going. I'm not
Okay.
looking to actually be
So the level of your body, your vessel, is going to influence like how many hit points it has, I believe, and you know all sorts of things. So you don't want to go
so not
too high.
necessarily how well crafted and real it looks.
Yeah,
It's
it's
more
always
just
going to be
how it
real.
interacts with the world.
Yeah.
Okay. And I have how many points to spend?
You have 36 total between everything.
Okay. Oof.
I'm gonna pull up a calculator just to.
And every
keep
one
track.
equals 3, you said? Or did I hear that
Each
wrong?
level of vessel is 3 points. Yeah.
Okay. See, I should have done the homework.
I mean, if you want, we can start with a level 1 and then see how many points you have at the end of the rest of it, and then you could always go back and put more
Let's
into
do
it.
a 2, and then that.
A 2.
Yeah, please.
So, what kind of a vessel are you thinking? Is it a male, female,
Yeah,
animal?
I can't pull girls off, so I'm
Okay.
gonna be a guy.
So, man, and you wanted a second level, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you have 30 points left over. So that's just the body itself. Now you have a vessel that you can enter into whenever you go to the Earth. Now, did you want to mess around with charisma at all? You can take up to
Yes.
3 levels of charisma, costing 2 character points each. Each level of charisma gives you +1 on reaction rolls. So how
Yeah, I'd like
people
to
react.
see 2 in that.
You want 2 levels. So let's see. 3 levels of charisma, costing 2 character points each. So I'm going to put charisma, and you said you wanted 2 in that?
2, please.
And I did not spell that correctly at all.
Charismatic.
Wow. All right, so each of them cost 2, so that's 4 minus 4. We're down to 26. Yeah, that's spelled correctly now. Okay, and so that gives you a +1 reaction. +1 reaction. Or it's a +2 reaction because you have a +2 in it. Oh boy, +2 reaction. Reaction. All right. And then, of course, we can reduce the font size on this so it fits better and stuff later on. All right, so you have your 2 levels in charisma of a possible 3 means you are a great-looking human. So you're just reflecting your real-life personality here. Rocking it. Now, rolls. Now, you had mentioned about, let's see, a roll demands a skill or 2 at levels no lower than that of the roll to successfully play the part. All rolls demand a skill or 2 at levels no lower than that roll. For example, a lawyer who can't fast talk isn't really a lawyer. The celestial may have to have fast talk skill at a level equal to the level of his roll. Okay, that makes sense.
So would you need to go to another slot and determine those, or once you pick this now, you've got to go spend that way? Is that?
Yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, one
Okay.
informs the other anyway. So,
all right.
So you said you wanted to work with dead things, right?
Yeah, I want to own a
might
business. Basically, the business is my drivers go to various funeral homes and do all the driving for them and picking up.
Okay.
Which allows for a lot of connections and shit. I think that's better than just running a funeral home. Who wants to do that nowadays?
Right.
Shit.
What name would you give that role?
Business owner.
Okay.
Transport company owner.
Okay, so but it's always the funeral industry, or is it any type of?
Well, you can also drive drivers around. You can drive organs around. Like we've done all kinds of crazy stuff. Anything in that bend, we've been sent to do. So.
Okay, so I'm just going to put transporter.
Mortuary transport. I mean.
Yeah. Okay, so the cost of a roll is determined by multiplying status by level and dividing the result by 2, rounding up. So let's see, status is 43. Okay, so from the celestial viewpoint, the complex web of mortal society can be reduced to 6 status levels, 1 through 6, of course. So unskilled all the way up to wealthy professional. This is going to basically tell you also how much financial support you have here. So let's see, where do you want to go? What level?
I'd like to be up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to go all the
But
way
the
up to
problem is, if I spend here, then will I not have the goods and my other traits to keep it propagated? That's my concern.
Right,
So it goes
right.
up to 6. How's 5?
Okay, so professional, which is airplane pilot, engineer, college professor, or state politician. So that's like you're known at that
Yeah.
level for sure. Okay, so every role in society has one of these status levels. When choosing a status role, so cost and effect. For a human being, status costs 2 character points per level, but 1 level is free. So you want 5, so
So,
it'll cost 4.
yep.
So -4. So transport, and it's status 4 or 5. I mean. All right, so you have 22 skill point or character points left. That's a really, really good status. You're gonna not have any problems with connections or anything like that, or
I'm
money
kind
for
of
that
hoping
matter.
not.
Okay, so
Like
let's
heavy
see.
charismatic, this will be.
Where were we with? Let's go back to rolls. The cost of a roll is determined by multiplying status by level and dividing the result by 2. So status is 5 divided by 2, rounding up is 3. So it costs 3 to be the transport politician or the transport business owner.
Okay.
So then we'll do transport 3. Just so we're tracking points here, and then -3. So you have 19 points left. So most of these require specific skills because you're making your own. Let's just sort of look at the general lay of the land of skills, and you tell me which ones seem appropriate for that type of level that you're running of this business. So we have
Okay.
acrobatics, artistry, chemistry, climbing, computer operation, detect lies, dodge, driving, electronics, emote, engineering, escape, fast talk, fighting, knowledge, which is probably going to be a good one,
Yep.
languages, large weapon, lockpicking, lying, medicine, move silently, ranged weapon, running, savoir faire, which is just basically etiquette, worldwide etiquette, seduction, singing, small weapons, survival, swimming, tactics, throwing, and tracking. So those are the basic skills in this game.
That
So
makes it seem really combat heavy. Maybe I
yeah,
did
I
this
mean it
wrong.
is a war
I'm
between
going with the concept anyways, but
yeah, I mean it is a war between heaven and hell. So angels and demons are fighting each other regularly.
but I feel like definitely savoir faire, being able to detect lying, obviously driving.
Yeah,
I'm starting to think in my mind it's probably going to be, especially considering today, a war veteran with some obvious injury. Like, oh, you made it from this tragic point to where you are now, and that also allows them to move with some credibility.
oh wow,
You know, put a bunch of medals and flags on the back of their office, and like when they're
right,
approaching new funeral homes, like I got this. So that's where I'm going with this.
okay, interesting. So let's just sort of go these one at a time here. Savoir faire. Uh, how many levels of this do you want? So this is the knowledge of worldwide etiquette. Those with savoir-faire can dine gracefully at a table and handle touchy social situations with perfect style. The check digit of a savoir-faire roll may be added, or in this case, a failed roll subtracted from immediate reaction rolls made by anyone observing the character. So you
I'd
already
like to
have
have.
a reaction modifier based on your looks, your charisma. To add this to it, you can, really talk your way out of or into
I definitely
situations.
want one level, no question. But
Yeah.
like, also, will this apply in dealing with my actual kind of creatures and other kind of creatures? Well, I know, well, a servitor of this demon prince does this thing, so I won't make the mistake of saying that thing, or I'll at least know going into this, like, don't wear a red bandana, you'll get your ass shot.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think that
Okay, then
equates
yeah, I
to
want
it.
at least one level in there.
Okay. So that's going to be 1. So that's 18 left. And then you said driving as well. It's your
Right.
ability to obviously drive a normal domestic vehicle. Um, If someone has driven a specific vehicle often, you may get a +1 modifier for controlling that. They're generally made on 2 occasions: when you're trying to get from one place to another and when something specific hazardous pops up.
For now, I'm going to go with the 1 on that. It probably should be higher, but I think there's other things I'll need more.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure it needs to be any higher than that, to be honest.
Right. What are you really going to go into?
Yeah, I mean, we're not doing race car.
But you may end up having this in Sarajevo running Hummers, so who knows?
Yeah. I would just like to suggest dodge. Dodge.
Oh, without question, yeah.
Is a pretty big one for almost any situation, and you always get to dodge any type of attack in order to try to reduce the amount of damage done to you or avoid it altogether.
So I'd like 2 in that, please.
Dodge 2. So that was, what were you at before?
That puts me down to what, 16?
Oh, you were at
I had 19.
17 just a second ago. So let's go to
14,
16, 15, right?
Okay.
Each skill is 1. Oh, geez. So we're at 15 right now. Okay. What else did you say would be a good one for this?
There was a detect lie. I kind of like that a lot. Like, even in dealing with the human world, right. People trying to well, actually the market price is this, or in dealing with my own compatriots, well, actually this is what we're really about. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'd like to have a 1 in that.
Okay, let me.
I don't think I probably should take something in firearms just to go with the background that I have, so a 1 in that.
Right, as a veteran.
And there was different ones. There was small arms and all that, right?
Yeah. So let's do detect lies first. You said 1?
Yes, please.
Okay, that puts us at 14. And then small arms fire, did you want to do like a rifle or something, like small arms, small weapons? So it defines the character's ability to use any kind of small handheld weapon. Oh, so it's
more like handguns, and then
this is like dagger and sword. So we're looking at ranged weapons for bow, pistol, or rifle. It'll also help to maintain and a level 4 or above repair the weapons.
Nice. Well, that sounds good.
So what do you want in ranged weapon?
Just 1, please.
Okay. All right, -1. We're at 13 now.
Okay.
Now we haven't done any songs or anything as of yet.
Well, this would be a good time to deviate over there now that we've done a little bit under half.
Yeah, and we can always go back and sort of look at other stuff as well. But let's look at the cost, resource mechanics of songs, because I think it's 1 per level 2, but I might be wrong here. So if you know 2 songs, no, that's success. Songs are they cost 1 character point per level. Okay. So the basic songs, let me throw this up so people can see it, are attraction, and each song has the 3 different versions of it. If you have all 3, then you get bonuses. So attraction, charm, dreams, entropy, form, harmony, healing, light, motion, possession, projection, shields, thunder, and tongues. So always keep in mind that whenever you use a song, you are disrupting the symphony in some way. You're affecting the symphony, adjusting it to your desires, your whim. And so that's always going to be able to be heard depending on how powerful it is.
So it's a gun in your back pocket. Like, yeah, it'll ramrod ahead and do things, but people are going to know that you did it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do any of these, would you want to hear more about?
How does entropy interact with the world?
Okay. So a little chaos.
Certainly charm.
Yeah. A little chaos is a dangerous thing. Controlling it is tricky, but masters of this song are formidable beings. Entropy can be used within touching range, although the performer does not actually need to touch the subject. Melee ranges are okay, sniper ranges are not, for example. So the corporeal song of entropy gives the caster control over the ravages of time. He can cause something to age or grow young by a number of years equal to the check digit of a successful roll, the amount of essence used in the performance. The subject of this song may attempt to resist the field of entropy with a strength roll. Wow.
Okay. I love that.
The ethereal version of it is a mental attack, bringing terror and nightmare to a single victim. The victim can make the intelligence roll to resist it. and the celestial causes complete and systematic breakdown of a creature's psyche. The target hallucinates and can take no action at all for a number of rounds equal to the performer's celestial forces plus the check digit. Holy
I love
gosh.
that more. I'm going to want that.
So you want entropy as a song?
That's my jam. Yes.
Okay, so which form or which forms do you want?
I think I'm going to go with the physical for now.
And then how many?
And their cost of what? 1 to 1 or 2 to 1?
1 to 1.
Okay. Put 3 there.
So that one is the one where you age or make young. That's the one
Yes.
you want? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Entropy 3. So now we have...
I wish it worked on physical items too, like you could rust a car or whatever. But
oh, that'd be pretty cool. Let's see. Gives the caster control over the ravagers. You can cause something to age or grow young by a number of years. So it doesn't say a person. It says something. So we could play with that if you want.
I'm kind of marrying this now in my head with a concept I've had forever that I want to write a story about. A genie who grants wishes based on how much someone sacrifices of their life. So like he would have a cane, you would touch the cane, and then you would subtract a number of years of your future to get your wish. And I've always wanted to try to mix that into a story. I've never been able to figure it out.
Yeah.
But like you don't know how many years you have left. So if you ask for something super grand and you will only have so much to contribute, you may rot and die right there on the spot and never get what you want.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
it's also played a little bit with Something Wicked This Way Comes, which is kind of fun.
Yes. Yep.
Great story. I tried to buy that recently. I can't find it anywhere. Like you have to pay these crazy prices. The book? No, I'm sorry, the film.
Oh, I have a copy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Keep it.
Well, no, without question. I'll never let it go. But, where did I find that?
I'm just gonna hunt around and pay like $50 for it is all, I think.
Oh, it's one of those like look at old rare bookstores and crap and people don't know what they have. And
yeah. All right, so you said charm. You want to look at this a little bit?
Yes.
So the corporeal version is you can affect either a person's strength, making it more difficult for him to put up a struggle, or agility, making him slow. The effect lasts for a number of minutes equal. The ethereal version is affect their intelligence, making them slow-witted, or precision, making it difficult for them to concentrate. And then celestial is affect the victim's will, making them apathetic and highly suggestible, or perception, dulling their senses to near imbecility.
I like the celestial version.
Okay, so the song can affect either its victim's will, making him apathetic and highly suggestible, or his perception, dulling his senses to near imbecility. The effect lasts for a number of rounds equal to the former celestial forces. So each of these, you are required to use essence to perform them.
Right.
With charm, it has a minimum of 2, and with what was the other one? Entropy, it's a minimum of 1. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'll go with a celestial of 1 right now in that. I like that robbing people of their wills thing quite a bit.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, especially for a demon, you know. Okay, so now did you want to, what other songs did you want to maybe explore a little bit? Oh, hold on, you have 9 left, -1.
What was tongues? That one also stood out to me.
So that's usually language, but let's look here. So the corporeal version is the song performer lets the subject communicate in any human language. In fact, all human languages at the same time. You'll understand any text or speech in a close approximation to your own language as possible, and others will hear you speak in the language they feel most comfortable with. The ethereal version lets you communicate mentally with anyone within range. This is full two-way telepathy. Wow, that's cool. If the receiver
oh my gosh, it is.
So, wow, that's great. So, and the celestial version is it can only be used on someone the performer has already met, and it allows the performer to bind a brief message into a bit of essence and loose it into the cosmos, where it makes its way directly to the mind of the receiver. The receiver, wherever he is, will get the message whether he wants it or not. Okay, so the difference between that and ethereal is that you have to be within a certain range in order to have two-way telepathy, With the celestial one, you just throw the message out and it gets to them no
But
matter
it's
what.
not a two-way communication. It's this.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to put 2 into ethereal and 2 into the physical.
Oh, wow. So, tongues, song of 2, and then, I'm sorry, it was ethereal and corporeal you wanted to do?
Yes, please.
Song of tongues. And how many?
2 each.
2 each, okay. So that's 4. So you have 5 points left. Now let's.
Can we go back? Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, let's look back at your attunements because you may want to get one of those. And I'm trying to look at the cost of attunements really quick. If I can find it. Where is. Where would it be? Let me just look at this really quick. Game mechanics. Come on, where are you? Turd. I know somewhere it says, like, these each cost X. This book is a little bit frustrating because it has them all mixed up in different places.
So I haven't watched your review of this yet. Where did you find this? Where did you even hear of it? I swear I saw it in a bookshelf somewhere once, but
That's exactly where I found it. Is that I was with some friends. We always went to coffee on Sundays and hit bookstores, and I just saw in a bookstore, looked, and I was already playing role-playing games anyway, so I just picked it up. And this was back when it first came out in the '90s. So it was just a cool little experience in an alternate way because we started getting into Vampire the Masquerade and then Werewolf the Apocalypse at that time, and this was just an interesting alternative to that.
I burn up a lot of my life with White Wolf stuff. A lot.
It's fun
Too
stuff.
much, probably.
And people get into it.
Oh, go ahead. I was relating the story last night. I was on a trip home after some social gathering, and I got somebody kept calling me, and I finally got hold of me, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, I just want to let you know your character's dead." And I'm like, "What?" And my White Wolf vampire character, they had gotten together in a room and done a closed roleplay session, but that didn't involve me. And then the guy starts laying out all the reasons why I was dead, and I'm like, "I'm gonna get it off the phone now." And he's like, "What? Don't you want to hear all this stuff?" And I'm like, "You clearly don't want me to play with you anymore." Click.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but they'd burn up 4 hours of their lives sitting around drinking beer and figuring out how to kill me. And I was like, "Oh, all right, well, that's the end of that."
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's messed
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Role play. It's sitting around with 7 people and 7 idealized asshole versions of themselves. You have to hope to find it as a group.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I've always hated stuff like that. I mean, it's so petty to do that.
But nowadays, it's a telegraph. It lets you know what kind of person you're dealing with, and you can just shut them down and walk away. Whereas I think when I was younger, I would sit there and debate and argue and, I don't know, try to win some fight that doesn't yield anything in the end. Yeah. This is for entertainment. This is for enlightenment. This is to get to know people better. And that's what this is about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully this will not go anywhere near that sort of a mess.
I don't tolerate people like that. So that's why I was so interested in it.
Okay, I'm not seeing anywhere that's saying, I know I've looked it up before and I'll look it up again, but for now.
Just leave some points hanging back for that because I'm fine with that.
Well, I was just going to have you just give one of the 2 to you just because it seems like something that should happen. This is really bugging me that I can't find it. It should be very simple here. Attunements. Their special powers granted by one superior. They're different for each servitor. They're 2 basic kind. They may be granted by a superior to any celestial. Okay, so they cost 10 character points each at creation or afterward. Okay, so that's where. So you only have 5. So would you want to lower any levels of any of the stuff you have in order to get one of your attunements?
I really like my build right now. Would it be a pretty serious boost for me early on, or is it something I should earn up to in a later date?
Well, the vampiric kiss allows you to heal. The zombie lets you make zombies.
I'm a zombie thing. I love that so much. And that's going to cost me 10 to do either of those.
Yeah.
Uh,
It is something that you can buy later on.
Yeah, but I want to. Oh fuck. I guess rob from my transportation. No.
Yeah, you need that just because of the status in the vessel.
I absolutely do. Mm. Guess I'm not starting with it. Yeah, I did. I really like where this is going. I really think it's going to give me the platform to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll just have to happen down the road.
So another option is to adopt a discord, which gives you points. It's like a negative resource, so you can get more
Yeah, they had
character
traits
points.
and flaws in White Wolf where you could do that. Like there'd be something about like you could only feed on this kind of person or you, whatever
Yeah.
the hell. Crosses would affect you. Yeah, let's look at that route.
So some of the discords are damage sense, like one of your senses is damaged. You're crippled, discolored, obese, pallid, stigmata, twitchy, ugly, vestigium, vulnerable. And then ethereal discords are angry, aura, berserk, bound, cowardly, fear, geese, and paranoia. And celestial ones are celestial blindness, gluttonous, greed, lustful, merciful, murderous, need, slothful. So it sort of spans the gamut there.
How bad's the murderous one?
So in a combat
I like.
situation, a character goes for the kill regardless of the consequences. At the start of a
Oh,
fight, he makes a successful will roll minus the level of the discord to avoid trying to kill his foes. So anytime you kill a human, it disrupts the symphony, which then, again, creates that ripple that other people may hear. And depending on the mission that you're sent on, it may piss off your your boss or not. In your particular case, I can't imagine him being upset by it. The check digit of a failed roll determines how many rounds you will fight to kill before your murderous nature is sated. So it's kind of like berserk nature almost. Like you're just
I
like
guess
see
why
red.
I'm going towards that. And are they one for one, or do some of them give you more than others?
They're one for one, I think.
Okay.
On all
The
of
reason
them.
why I like that is because I'm trying to build somebody who's a builder, and I feel like somebody who's trying to build this like connective financial empire, but they also have like a homicidal problem, which could tear everything apart. Like that's interesting to play.
That's gonna be
Um,
fun. Do you want
and
to
do
do
you
that?
buy them in levels, or is
Yeah.
it like you have the one, therefore you're just murderous and uncontrolled? So
No,
I think I'll take the one in the murder. Give me one murder, please.
I would like
Uh,
one murder, please.
I would like one murder, please.
Murder us without the I. Murderius. One. Okay, so now you have
That's the Latin
6
version. Um,
total.
got it. I'll have one of my eyes missing. Now I need to try to role play this time. Was there a fear component? I swear
Yeah.
I remember you saying,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd like one of those.
So
Because I feel
it's
like that would
pretty
also
funny,
feed into the
murders
murder
and
thing.
fear.
Yeah.
So fear
Well,
for
where does most of your bad shit come from? Is being afraid.
yeah. So a
So
fearful person has a phobia, a mental trap door that will drop him into a pit of irrational fear. Low level phobias may be trivial, while high level phobias may indicate an extreme psychosis. A character's specific fears should be noted in parentheses after the Discord name, such as Fear 3 Clowns. The cost of the Discord varies as GM's discretion depending upon how frequently the character may encounter his fear in the course of the game. So snakes, for example, would be worth 1, and computers or raw meat might be 2 or 3 per level. So the bigger the fear that you want, the more it's going to cost, depending on frequency. Is that one you want to?
I'm trying to figure out like a loss of status. I almost feel like a Marvel Comics Norman Osborn route of narcissism, where like if you're dealing in a business situation or in a situation where you believe you're superior and you're losing ground, like you start
Yeah.
becoming really anxious and screwed up. And I'm just trying to boil that down to one word.
So this is
Um,
interesting because fearful cherubim and jinn must include their level of this discord when making dissonance rolls. So this feeds right into your very nature itself.
Well, and I love that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to give me a 2 in fear, and I don't want to say loss, perception of loss. I don't know how you'd reference it.
I mean, it's
Almost
professional, right?
Yeah, well, like you're in a business situation where you're bidding over a car and the other guy gets it over on you and you end up paying way more than you wanted to and he's kind of smirking at you and you're
Yeah.
terrified that's going to happen. And like that's your life. At every stage of every game, you don't want to let anybody get the upper hand on you.
Right.
And you feel like you have, then your mind spirals and like you've lost it all now. Like you clearly lost your ability to bully the world and the world is now going to bully you. And I'm just trying to figure out what you'd call that.
That's a tough one to nail down because it's a
Well, and
couple
I want to
different
make it,
things.
I want to make it very concise and easy to use in the game.
Mm-hmm. Because if it's a fear of a loss of status,
I feel like that's the easiest to reference it.
yeah.
Does that work for you, or is that entirely too general? I'm not trying to make something that I can then like pawn off and never deal with. I really want to have to deal with this.
Yeah. I think the cost would probably be I think it'd probably be a 1 for each level. So you'd have 2 from that. Because it is something that could affect every single decision or just every once in a while. And if it's status, then it's only when dealing with your profession or something that relates to it versus literally any decision you make, fearing that, you're sort of going to be canceled or something like that.
Well, and I think like now that I'm giving it more thought, it would be in relations with other humans because I feel like I'm so much more superior that I'm not them.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm coming in just wearing the mask and being, and then one of them starting to outsmart me or do better than me, and like that's not going to fucking work at all. Like
so like social status.
Yes. So a 2 in that if I could.
Yeah. Social status loss.
And I really should do something appearance based.
So let me think. I'll say that's 3, because that can be affected a lot. So we'll say it's 2 per level, so that's 4. So you have a 10.
Well, and then that also is going to be interesting to play if I'm playing this very stoic, jaded guy who doesn't ever want to put forward that you care about everything when in reality they absolutely care about everything.
Yeah.
So.
And why you have such focus on trying to manipulate and charm and, dominate other people because you're worried they're going to do it to you.
Right.
Like you're going to lose your face.
There's a Marvel character, Annihilus, and he started life as a small insect. And then he found this piece of a starship, which evolved him, made him immortal, and allowed him to control all matter. But he also developed this hideous paranoia that he has to kill everyone because they could take his power.
Whoa.
And it drives his whole existence. Like he could be this multi-level super intelligent guy and manipulate whole star systems. All he cares about is the next guy more powerful than him.
Oh well.
Utterly driven. I'm not going to go that purist and one dimensional.
That could be difficult.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it doesn't make for a good game.
Okay, I think we got a pretty solid basis here. Now you have 10 points. Did you want to explore any other discords or just end there with that?
Well, I'd like that zombie thing, and then yeah.
So that's going to be Saminga's attunement. So we're going to say zombie. Okay, so the demon can turn any fresh corpse into a zombie. You must make a will roll, adding your celestial forces, but subtracting the original forces of the corpse that you're trying to raise. So your will is 8 plus your forces, which is 3. So 8, 19, 11. So you'd have to roll under 11 minus whatever forces the entity is. So if it's a regular mundane human, then it's probably around 5. So 10, 8, 7, 6. You'd have to roll under a 6 to raise them from the dead. And then you would just have this zombie following you. I think that's really funny. All right, so...
Well, I can redo that scene from Reanimator where all those body bags just rise up. And
This is a great show. Okay, so that's a great attunement. And then, of course, we need to keep in mind the Discord's here. let me just copy those over. So, fear and murderous. There. Okay, so let's look at your health. Let's see, develop. Okay, so rolls. You know, we got to look at your vessel actually. So game mechanics. As far as hit points go, where do we find that? The cost of the roll is the status and its level. Rolls can only be bought outright at character creation. Where is the vessel? Where's hit points? Oh, this is bad because they're just in so many different places. All these stinking rules.
Yeah, but by character creation video 3, you'll be great.
Yeah.
You'll have this shit utterly down.
Easy. I'll know where everything is.
The last person in line is going to be like, this is amazing.
This is so easy. Why did it take everyone else so long?
Dummies.
Those dummies. Okay, come on now. Where is it? All right, this is going to frustrate me because I know I found it before. Grr. All right, well, I'm going to have to look for that, and then maybe we can do that offline if I can't find it right here.
Sounds good.
I just wish there was like an easier place just to find it everywhere, because it seems like it should be right.
Well, if you love this enough, you'll eventually make your own charts and graphs. I know I did for White Wolf, so.
Yeah, I'm probably going to definitely have to do that just for simplicity, so I'm not doing this every single time. Oh my gosh. I'm just looking because I know I'm going to find it and be like, oh, there it is. But not yet. Okay. So we'll deal with the health. I know I referenced it in the last video, people, but I don't remember, and now I got to find it again. So we'll deal with the body, mind, and soul, and what those totals are a little bit later.
Okay.
As far as, well, let me see. Yeah, it's not even here. Let me see if I can find it in index. So body. Wow, it's not even in the index. This is not great.
No one can be harmed. No one can die. Nothing physically matters.
What the hell is going on? Maybe it's under
this
combat
game
and healing.
And that's why Hasbro didn't buy this one.
Yeah, so. Exactly. They're like, maybe you should have worked a little bit more on the thing here. Okay, so physical damage is measured in body hits. The Celestial's total body number is determined by adding his vessel level to his corporeal forces. So your vessel level is 2 times your corporeal forces is 3, so that's 6. And multiplying the result by his strength. So 6 times 4. Okay, so you have 24 body hits. All right, so I'm going to highlight that really quick, just so we can make sure we can find it later. And then for your ethereal, let's see, damage is measured in mind hits. Your total mind number is determined by multiplying your ethereal forces times your intelligence. So intelligence is 6 times 3, so that's 18. And then celestial forms, let's see. Damage is measured in soul hits. Your total soul number is determined by multiplying your celestial forces times your will. And you have 3 times 8. So we're looking at, is that right? 24? 8 times 3. Yeah, 24. That's math. What do you know? I'm the worst. All right, so essence. How do we know how much essence you start with? Where is essence again? Come on now. It's got to be here somewhere. This is rough. And it is definitely one of those things where once I find it, I'll just be like, oh, man, it was there the whole time.
Now I know what to get you for Christmas. They're like a DM screen with all the shit on it. So.
The character creation DM screen. Oh my gosh, where are you? You
Oh, now I
stinking.
want to see like an Attack on Titan DM screen with like the dude standing over it. That
I do have a DM screen for this, which is pretty nice, but it doesn't have like all the character creation stuff. It's all mainly just stuff for gameplay. Um, where is Essence? I'll find in 1 second. Distance mechanics. All right, Essence. A character may never hold more essence than a total of his forces. Okay. So you have as much essence as you have in forces, which is 9 for you. So it says game mechanics are in 54. Okay. So you have 9 essence. If someone tries to absorb more, it just sort of dissipates. Now, essence can also be seen as sort of currency. You can literally give essence to other people. So, you know, if someone needs to perform some sort of action, they're like, hey guys, I just need a little bit of boost. Other people can sort of give him boost or give them a boost up to their total possible maximum, just to sort of help them along the way, which might be an interesting thing to try to do during game. So if you really have to charm someone, for example, or you know sort of make them a dummy, then other people can help you by giving you essence to do that if you're low.
that's what happened to Mitch McConnell recently. Well, once people got together and were like, "Derp, take that."
Very true.
And
That
I
did
watched that
happen.
clip over and over and over again.
That's funny.
So much.
So have you thought about a name for this character yet, or you want to deal with that later?
I'm gonna when I'm done here, after I get the chores done for the house, I've got
Yeah.
some writing to do. I'm gonna create a background and all that, which I don't know if you'd like my physical background, but I always like to share those with the
I think it'd be
storyteller.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always like to know, you know, sort of where you come, why you chose what you chose, stuff like that, because it helps me sort of fold that into the narrative of the game itself to sort of immerse the character a little bit more role playing wise.
Good deal.
But it also means that you actually care and you're not just rolling to hit, you know.
Man, I'm giving up my Saturday for this. Yeah, I'm in. I care. So
Awesome. All right. Well, that is your character. You are a Jinn of Saminga. The word is basically, you know, when you get powerful enough, you can be given authority over a word in the symphony, like death or media or stuff like that. And then that will
lovely.
actually feed into, you know, how you get power and or how you lose power depending on the strength or the weakness of that word and or how it's used or abused. So the mechanics of that get pretty in depth later on, but for now,
Right.
I think we're in a good spot. Okay, well, Mr. Victor Wicked, thank you so much for joining me and making your character here. I'm going to email this to you as soon as we're finished. And then, you know, I'm going to actually, before I do that, I'm going to reduce the font size of those because those are really big, wrapping lines and stuff. But then feel free to, you know, write up any background and share it with me. And then, of course, we'll do a brief recap when we start the actual module itself, when everyone else has finished creating their characters and stuff. So, yeah, what do you think so far?
I'm more into it than I was. You know, I won't lie. I kind of try to avoid fantasy based on this kind of stuff because it's like, oh God, I'm thrust into it every day, the fantasy of this thing.
Yeah.
But I think this is a real way to tussle with it. So yeah, I'm kind of into it.
Okay.
The mechanics do seem more White Wolf than not.
Yeah.
That's super nice. Yeah, and if you're running it at the risk of kissing your ass too much, I'm really into it. So
Well, I'm going to do my best to make sure it's entertaining for everyone as well. So, you know, they're not going to be like, I don't know. Some game masters are very, you know, specific in how they run things, and I like to be more fluid and just sort of fly on what the players suggest and where they want to go and just see what happens from there. So it should be a good time. And I'm hoping that the audience, I hope you guys are going to enjoy this. So, of course, let us know what you thought about this character creation. Yes, I should have been much more prepared than I was, but by number 6, it'll be like that. Like a 20-minute process. So it'll be great. All right. I want to thank you again for joining me, Mr. Victor. Can't even say your name, Mr. Victor Wicked.
oh, you're welcome.
And for everyone else, thank you for watching today's In Nomine Feast of Blades Session 0. Subscribe and ring the bell if you're new to the channel. Don't forget to click the like button and comment to let others learn about this award-winning role-playing game and this channel. And as always, remember that evil spelled backwards is live. So get out there and be evil. All right, hang tight.